Come and shoot the breeze with myself and guests as we deep dive into some topics that may just pin your eyelids right back. So, welcome everyone to another series of Shoot the Breeze. And if you feel compelled to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would love that very much. And today we're going to talk to this light warrior that we have here, who is Marguerita Vorobioff.
Yes, very good.
And what we're going to be talking about today is Marguerita is is very much looking at what we're creating into this new world. We all talk about the new world. We've had all this big, huge shake-up that we all needed and required, obviously, because it happened. And we have created into. But what we are doing now, as most of you would probably be aware of, is that we're now starting to focus on what can we build into this new world. We don't wish to have all this anymore, so therefore, what is it that we're really wanting? And really what's happening is there's a lot of community, heart-centered, passionate people coming together and building new communities. And Margarita is very much about that in the Great Awakening. So welcome, Margarita. And
Hello, I'm super excited to be here.
yeah, yay. I'm excited too for you to be here so that we can share your idea and your wisdoms with many more. So tell us about the Great Awakening and the community sense of that and what your vision is and how that all came about.
Well, as a light worker and a light warrior, it's the last 4 years, man, has it been a shit show or what? And as an
Agree.
empath and a healer, it's been particularly, I think the word you used before we got on was shocking. It's been like a shock, and it's been shock
Mhm.
after shock after shock after shock. And and like, are we really going through this? Like, please wake me up from this nightmare. What the hell?
Yeah.
So for some time I was trying to speak out, and then it just felt futile. So there were those who got it and
Mm.
those who didn't. It was like, how can you not see this? I thought, eventually, if I just keep speaking out enough, eventually they're going to see it. Yeah, nah. Didn't
No.
happen, which was just so frustrating. And I've always had a bit of a God complex. So some of my business coaches would say, yeah, no, yeah, I don't have to save the world. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Mm.
I felt this, I just felt so compelled. Like, this is part of my mission here on the planet. And I kind of sat back and I went, and their thing before was like, well, maybe the world doesn't need saving. Well, yeah, but it does. And
I
then
know
all
it's
this
such
kind
a conflict, isn't it? That is a real conflict. I think all of us were in that space over that time. It was like, we need to do something. And then I'd get, no, we don't need to. This is perfect.
well,
What?
that's fine, just as it is. I'm like, what, really? Do you see what I
Mm.
see?
Yeah.
And then these last 4 years happened, and I thought, this is it. This is my time. This is what I'm here for. But, I eventually realized I was speaking to the converted. I was speaking to the choir, preaching to the
Yeah.
choir. And I just went, on part of me was like, silence is not an option. As part of me was like, well, but I'm not actually achieving anything. So I sat back and I sort of processed and processed and processed and processed, and just, I still stay aware of what's going on, but I've distanced myself from that and
Mm.
recognized and come to a place where um, we are on different timelines. People have their destiny. Their destiny is none of my business.
Mm.
I can't change their destiny. They chose that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And whatever they see, and they, why ever they can't see what I see, that's not for me to change that. And that's hard. I still grapple with that every freaking day.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
particularly when it comes to loved ones, the people that you love the most.
Yeah.
And So I'm still conflicted about that, but I'm still trying to find a place of peace within me most of the time. And then recognizing that if we are on different timelines, and there's people in this space who I've heard say
Mm,
that the timelines are splitting, people have made their choice. And we just have to be at peace with whatever timeline they have chosen.
that's
And the
right.
fact that ultimately, at some point in the future, we all end up in the same place.
Mm,
Like, you know, it's like this is this is such a blip. This existence is such a blip in the infinite landscape.
yeah.
So me getting all, you know, all distressed about what's going on in the world isn't helping anybody.
Mm,
And there are good people out there who are doing that work already, who are speaking out, who are reaching millions that I can't reach. They've got a voice and an authority that I don't have. So, what can I do? How can I contribute? And what I feel is necessary right now is we can keep our heads stuck in the place of just every day, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Or we can go, holy crap, that is happening. What can I do over here? How can, because ultimately we are transitioning,
mm,
and but we need solutions.
yeah,
So
we do.
all the old systems are crumbling. They are crumbling and they
Mm,
will crumble. We have won. That's the good news. We have won this
we have.
spiritual war that we're
Mm,
in the middle of. But at the end of the day, people need new systems, or a way to use the old systems that actually serve humanity, not enslave humanity. And that's what I'm passionate about. So sovereignty, liberty, freedom. That's what I'm really passionate about. So what do we create instead? Because if we are co-creative beings living in a holographic projection, which I still can't wrap my head around that, but we are literally energetically creating everything.
yes.
So we contributed to creating this shit show, and we're sitting back going, this sucks. We don't want to be a part of this. What do we want to be a part of instead? Because
Mm,
we get what we focus on. And that's where at the moment it's called the Great Awakening Group, because I couldn't think of anything more interesting to call it. But that will evolve. And it's all about finding solutions. So my vision, which is pretty huge, and that's why we need a lot of people involved. My vision is for new natural health solutions for people to regain their health, because it's not just this 4 years that has trashed people's health, it's decades of poison that's trashed people's health,
absolutely.
and that's mentally, spiritually, and physically,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um and psychologically.
Mm,
So we
yeah.
need alternative health systems ready to go for when people are ready to plug into those natural health systems.
Mm,
We need new systems of governance, which I love Russell Brand's idea of smaller, decentralized sort of governance, more community governance that is for the people, by the people.
yeah.
We need new education systems for children, get them out of the indoctrination systems that help nurture their core genius. Because I'm all about, in business, I'm all about, what's your core genius? What are your gifts and talents? Let's elevate those. Let's leverage those and bring those to light. What if we did that for our kids? What
Mm,
if we had kids actually understanding what their core genius, what their superpowers were, what their gifts and talents were from a very early age, and we nurtured that in them and taught them how amazing and unique those gifts and talents are, and how they can contribute to society. From kids can contribute to society from a very early age
yes.
in a playful way. And
Mm,
how do we move into a space that is more playful and fun and liberating? And the financial system, we need a whole new financial system. And some say, oh yeah, it's the blockchain and it's Bitcoin and it's this and it's that. I'm like, I'm not convinced yet.
no,
I
me
don't know.
either.
Maybe
Mm,
it is, and maybe there is a solution with the blockchain, because blockchain technology is pretty amazing.
yeah.
But I just haven't really resonated with that at a deep level yet.
Mm,
So I'm kind of sitting back, and maybe I'm stupidly sitting back and observing. Maybe I should have. Do you know I was introduced to Bitcoin when it was like $1?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I
Wow.
looked at it and I went, "What a scam. Like,
Do you
that's
know,
a scam. That can't
yeah,
be real." Can
I
you
did
imagine?
actually
Now,
too. I got
what a
yeah,
rich mofo I'd be right now if I just put $100 into that scam. But anyway, that's a whole
exactly.
other story. I'm sure a whole lot of other people can say the same thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like I'm just not convinced, and I really have to resonate with something. So,
Mm,
but there is a new financial system just waiting to in the wings. I know it, and uh it's not an enslavement system. So there will be abundance. There is abundance everywhere. I'm all about
yeah,
abundance.
yeah,
So it's a fair system where there is no poverty. I'm a little bit I can rattle on for ages, by the way. So if you want to interrupt me, just interrupt me. But
yes, yes.
I'm very much about, I believe we can build utopia from here. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I believe that we can actually build in the fifth dimensional world a utopia where everybody is cared for, everybody feels loved, everybody gets to be free, everybody
Yeah,
gets to live their passion, their purpose, whatever it is. And yeah, maybe I'm a bit idealistic and I've always been a Pollyanna, but that's what I see. So it's all about working together to find solutions. That is a very long answer to basically is working together with community, like-minded people who want to create solutions. And each of us get to contribute ideas uh, and potential strategies and different structures, and we all get to work together to create one thing, multiple things, who knows?
yes,
But
understand. And
yeah.
that vision, I think there's so many of us that have that sort of vision, that we know that there's this newness rising in all of us. We're all moving and shifting with it, whatever that might be. And yes, and you see how, when you put your intention into something and energetically, how that just shows up for you.
Mhm,
And you see it everywhere. It might even show up on your phone instantly as soon as you speak something, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's us. How it's how we're now creating. It's
mm,
showing us where we're creating and how we're creating." So I don't have a thing with that. But this this I know that magic works. I know that's who we are, and that's how my life has always been. I've always used that method and created my life. But I think what exactly like you're saying, it's about solution. And I know there's so many that have already, there's lots of brains going, there's lots of new information dropping in. It's collectively putting it together,
mm,
isn't it? And that's the part that I'm seeing. I'm seeing all these bits everywhere, but actually needing to maybe come together. And I think you said something on the thread the other day about maybe everyone's just doing their thing and it's all going to, fit into place and we don't need to actually bring it all together in this sense. I think there's sort of reason in that for me too, and I think, yeah, okay, well, yeah, I can see how that could all just we're starting to build a net in a sense, start weaving it together. You might be doing something here and I'm doing something here and they're sort of similar, all that sort of thing. And I see so many parents in just my area who took their children out of mainstream schooling and
wow,
have been now homeschooling. There's like an 8-month wait for the system to be able to okay the homeschooling. So they're all waiting for the, tick and things like that. So there's a huge amount of parents in New Zealand who have taken their children out of mainstream. And I'm wrapped with that because years ago, at least 13 or more years ago, I was shown, and I keep calling them pods, so whatever, but pods of children that were all being raised in an educational way with these beautiful hearted people, women, men, whoever, that were homeschooling. It was a homeschooling, but it was nature driven. So they were taught how to live with her, not on her, and bringing all of that awareness and knowledge of their connectedness to everything. And what I kept seeing was these pods coming together at different times and different places and connecting them, and then eventually this mushroom would grow from that. That was a new system. So that's what I've seen here is happening, and that really excited me. I was so thrilled when I saw it all happening. Um, so there's lots that's going on, and I think I still feel that there's a lack of the coming together and putting it all together and creating from that. Because there's a lot that have got great ideas, but how do I actually formulate this? How do I
Yeah.
get this into form? And I know you would have heard of Liz Gunn, maybe the
Yeah,
lawyer.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, when Liz was running in that for those elections, and she made personal groups everywhere, like they were meeting up all over the place, and she worked so tirelessly. And so many people came through with new initiative, with new ideas that they had that they were asking, would the government would you put this into play if this, and there was so many, and all of that I started seeing how people are really stepping out of this boxed ideal that we've all had and been really controlled in and made to see it that way, are now actually taking the veil way off them and looking further ahead and into what's really possible. So I am excited about this time that we're living in, and I know there's a lot of grief and there's a lot of wounding from that 4 or 5 years that we've had. And I really know this nervous systems need to just sort of get some settle in here, relax and all of that. I think everyone's still on this alert within the body, of what next. Even though they're still, trying to build something future and into this newer world, there's still that little thing at the back going, hang on a minute, anything could come along that could just wipe this off the face of the earth anyway. But I don't.
Well, we don't know what they're up to next. We
No,
don't
we
know what
don't.
they're planning next, whoever they
Yeah,
are.
that's right.
So, and I think that's why, and I think it pays to be vigilant, to be perfectly honest. It's
I do too.
as awful as that is. I think we need to pay attention. I don't think we should take our eye off the ball, and that's why I still consume some of that information on those other channels, just so I know what's dropping, so I'm not taken by
Yes.
surprise
Yeah.
and expect anything because anything's possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally hear you. Absolutely.
I get that. Because like I was saying to you before, my total knowing is that when we put our energy into something, of course, we're empowering it to be there. So for me, it was that I needed to know everything that was happening, and I had triggers, so I needed to work through some of the emotional stuff, connecting me into that, so that I could unplug. Otherwise, I was just connected fully. But so doing all that, now I choose to, I see it, I see that it's going on, but I do not have any feeling towards it anymore in respect to firing me up and just wanting to battle up. I just don't want to give it that energy. I really don't. It's like I I wasn't one who was standing on the side of the road with a placard or anything like that. That wasn't my thing. I was working in the way that I do with clients, shifting the mindset, giving them the bigger picture, calming them down for them to start creating their world. So that was my part in it all. And so many that came in were so lost and so broken and so ill, um, and I'm seeing a rise in their temperament, their moods, they're getting to they're bringing in more happy. That there is huge just on its own. Because if you feel into, and I know when I was feeling into this whole thing, there was just so much emotion, so much emotion. There was so much grief. There was so much anger. They were waves that were just riding through on a collective consciousness everywhere. And it was heavy. It was big. And a lot of us were transmuting a lot of that too. A lot of us light workers and
Mm,
heart
yeah,
workers. It was a big mission. And the one thing
absolutely.
just in that too, the one thing that I did notice was not many people were coming back to the energetics of it. It was very much a mental thing.
Mm.
Everyone had got into the mental thing, and I was reminding myself, work energetically. Like, we need to work energetically with this, not get in that battle, mind battle. And yeah, so that's where I was at. But it did trigger me for sure. I had to work through stuff.
Well, it's been incredibly a time of incredible psychological trauma,
Mm,
manipulation,
yeah.
gaslighting, and people don't know who to trust anymore.
No, for sure.
So all those authorities and systems and all the things that okay, so I think many of us for years have gone, oh, you can't trust the government, but I don't think we understood to what extent those forces were captured. I
Yes.
mean, me personally, I just thought that you know, they were clueless idiots,
Yeah.
useful idiots. Like,
And a few lies here and there.
yeah, they'd sort of
You know.
manipulate something to kind of get their own way or whatever.
Yeah.
I never understood just how deep that ran. I never understood how integrated. And I think this has
Yes.
been the revealing part, and this is a part of the conscious evolution that we're going through, is that everything is being revealed now. The truth is coming out. We are
Oh,
seeing to the extent, and those who have planned this have taken a long, long time. They've been patient as
mhm.
and very deliberate and very structured. And that's where I think we're kind of playing catch up because we're all over the place. It's kind of like we're just
Yeah.
going, we're still coming to terms with what just happened. But they have had this planned and in place, and they have very carefully orchestrated everything.
Mm,
Every single part of the world that we live in has been sort of, without us even knowing, all networked and integrated. So everything feeds off everything else.
mm, totally that.
And so there are no isolated systems. So there is no system that was going to actually buck the system because
No,
they're all working together toward the same thing because
exactly.
they all come to the same place. You've got
Mm,
to follow the money. It all goes to the same place and they're
yeah.
all plugged into the same labyrinth.
Mhm.
So they're all feeding off the same agenda without
Yeah.
even knowing it,
Yes.
right down to the workers.
Yep.
They don't even realize that they're just the cogs in the wheel.
Mm, yeah.
And that has been like, I'm kind of awestruck by that. It's beyond my comprehension how the evil genius. I mean, if
Yes.
it weren't so evil, you'd almost sit back and go, actually, that was a really good play. Like,
Yeah. Well, I know I
holy,
have many times.
holy
It's
crap,
like, wow, that was
that was
good. Yeah.
masterful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd almost
Exactly.
admire it if it weren't so damned like nefarious and horrific and hadn't caused so much suffering. Because I've
Exactly.
been on the health bandwagon for a while and trying to warn people about the poisons that you're putting in your body and the addictions that you have and the drugs, the pharma. I was didn't realize how bad it was, but I was kind of a bit anti-pharma before all of this because I did a lot of research around health and how pharmaceutical drugs, somebody had an ailment, so they went in and the doctor sort of, instead of trying to find the cause of the lack of um, alignment within the body, they would just patch it up with a drug. Now, once
Yes.
you've given that person one drug, that drug causes another imbalance. Well, now I'm experiencing this. Oh, we got a drug for that too. Here you go. And
Yeah.
then I think my father, bless his soul, who died at 99,
Cool.
in yeah, died in 99 at the beginning of 2021. So he kind of missed the worst of this.
Yeah.
But I think he was taking like 9 drugs, and one drug offset the reaction to this drug, and then they had to do that drug. It's just a never ending. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas I'm all about finding the cause, finding the actual cause that is creating this this, I can't think of the word, but it's like the body is is in a state of inflammation, or
Mm, mm.
and you need to heal that,
Yes,
not just patch
absolutely.
it and create more problems.
Mm,
Um, so I was kind of already in that space before all this happened. I think the shock was how bad it was,
yeah.
just how bad it was.
Mhm.
Um, and
Sure.
how so many people were just willing to go along with it.
Yeah, that's the part. I was very disappointed with humanity, and I had to really work through that as well because it was just that everyone just, well, not everyone, of course, that's generalizing, but many just followed their instruction. And that was like, why can you not think for yourself? Like, actually, and ones going in that were crying and yet still sitting there and allowing it to happen. It was like, well, and they said, I don't know why I was crying. I said, you do know why you were crying. You
Mm,
do know. But just not listening to that, I
mm,
just, yeah, it's never been who I am. So it was, and one of the things that has always riled me, just internally, quietly within me, is watching and seeing people putting toxics into their body, the pharmaceutical toxins. And when I was sort of questioning, because I do a lot of stuff, I do a lot of different things, energy work and all sorts of things, cellular memory practitioner and all the things. But when I was asking, and which one of all of these things that I'm doing, what is it that I should be doing? Like, what's my actual purpose? And Spirit once said, just put them all together and see what comes out of that. And I thought, oh my God, I never thought about that. It was so like duh. But anyway, one of the things they said to me, which was really interesting, was look into your anger. And they said your passions and your anger. And I thought, what? And man, as soon as I dropped in there and asked the question, what am I most angry about? That's what rose. And for me, that was then, right now, I see what all of this is about and put together how I teach people how to heal themselves with no medication, no, surgeries, all those things. So that was been my mission all my life. And then that happened. It was like, whoa, that really triggered me, as you know. But
mm.
yeah,
But see,
so
that's where, and this is where we were talking about solutions. See, that's the wisdom that we need now.
absolutely.
That is the wisdom that we need on the planet. And that is what we need to make accessible to everybody. And that is why I am passionate about the collaboration and the integration and bringing all these, as you said, all these initiatives that are happening. What if,
Mm,
instead of working in our silos, what if we work together?
exactly.
Because
Yes.
there's so many different solutions to each problem, and there's many, many problems that we have at the moment.
Mhm. There is.
We've got the energy thing that's happening. I've seen some brilliant solutions to the energy, so-called energy problem that we have. Um, that could be the money that they're pouring into, like we have a hydro project, like literally 5 minutes up the road from where I live right now.
Yeah.
They are planning to decimate hundreds of acres of pristine wilderness to build this hydro. And I'm not even going to go into it. It's just ridiculous. They have on the Queensland coast, which is where I live. Well, I live a bit inland, but right up the coast, they are planning these massive windmills all up the coast. They are going to decimate thousands of acres of um, of natural habitat that will devastate wildlife. A lot of people don't understand the impact those things have on the wildlife because of the frequencies that they emit. I
Yeah.
was listening to something just last week that that they were saying that, like, our koalas, they have this huge mandible, and a lot of it's hollow, and it's hollow because they pick up calls from other koalas from 10, 15, 20 kilometers away, and the echo chamber.
Wow.
Now, these windmills, the frequencies that they emit
Going to
actually
muck that up.
interrupt that, and they impact the koala in this mandible. It's like, and that's just one animal.
Mm,
You know,
Yeah.
it's like these so-called green solutions are a disaster.
They are. Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
and this is where if we can stand against this, we can stand against these things, but we need to have alternative solutions to
Put in. Yeah.
propose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you can't just say, "Oh, well, these things are bad," because if people say coal's worse. What do you want?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So we've got
Oh,
to be able to present solutions, I think, and this is why I'm a passionate about and bringing people together with their own passions and their own experience and their own expertise and working together within communities to start building these solutions, even if we just get a foundation in place,
yeah. Yeah.
because we don't know when all this other stuff's really going to collapse.
No, we don't. Absolutely, we don't. And like you, I don't know about the financial system and the collapse and whether, Bitcoin, etc., or the blockchains are that's sort of the answer. I'm really like you. I have a big question mark around that. But I also know that my knowing and team, if we want to call it that, have said that we won't go through a really disruptive shift in that, that they've feel that we've experienced enough trauma without having all of our financial stuff taken away and us sitting in starvation and all the rest of it, as some
That's a
would.
relief.
I know, and that it would be shifted into a very with ease into a whatever the system is. They didn't show me that or tell me, but it's all I know right now is that we have definitely shifted into a future timeline that is out of that world's timeline. So that world
So
there for
exciting.
us, this old world, has definitely moved from us and is moving from us. We are moving from it. So I got information a while back. It was around February, where we were to actually make a choice now. What is your choice? Which world do you wish to live in? It was time now to take your foot out of one of them and bring them both into whatever world it was that you were going to be wanting to be in, because the timelines were shifting, and that you were, yeah, choose where you're going to be. So yeah, I was trying to get that out to many people, but who knows? And a lot of people don't really get what that means too. What does that mean? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you mean timelines? What's the timeline?
yeah, yeah,
So a lot of people who aren't necessarily in that space, particularly people who are still plugged into the matrix, Mandy. It's
yeah,
like
for sure.
if they are still plugged into the matrix, there's no way you're going to reach them.
No,
No way.
no.
And that's been my family, you know.
Mm,
It was just so fascinating to see. I've always been the go-to health specialist in my family,
yeah.
you know? Like if they had any sort of a health issue, because they know that I research everything. I figure everything out. I know that there's misinformation everywhere on both sides.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of my time in the first couple of years actually debunking a lot of the stuff that was coming through that was down the rabbit hole. I'm like, yeah, no, no, no. That's actually not a
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, but by the same token, that's when it was shocking when I was all of a sudden a tinfoil hat wearer. It's like, wait a minute, I've always been your trusted health specialist, and now all of a sudden I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. And my mother
Mm,
said to me, bless her soul, my mother said to me, "Oh, with your background, darling." I'm like, what? A health person who has always been really focused on health, that should be a positive, not a negative. Like, but I'm
yes.
also a light worker and they don't understand that either. So
Yeah.
I channel, I sing light language. So they never, they never rejected it, but they never understood it.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other world to them, you know.
Yes.
But I do think that we are finding our family, you
Mm,
know, and
definitely.
and one of the big parts of this of our evolution is the letting go,
It
is the
is.
letting go, letting go of those who are not coming with us, letting
Mm,
go of the old structures, letting go of the old identity and how we thought we fitted into the world, because
Yeah,
that's gone.
it
That
has.
old world is gone. It's never coming back, and we don't want it to come back.
No, we don't. I do think about when I grew up though, and in my young years of being in the home and the community that I grew up in, and it was really beautiful, oblivious to, the bigger, wider picture. I knew what I knew within me, but putting that out there at that point, there was no point. But living just in that community and with yeah, it was beautiful. It was a great time to grow up, and then it all turned. But I mean, it was always there still. But so what do you like? How do we bring this? What's your plan in respect to that? I know you've got the group going.
Yeah, that's a very good
So,
question, because it's almost like I feel passionate about it, but there seems to be so much resistance, even within the small group, because it's only like a small group, messenger group that we have at the moment. There's enthusiasm, but there's no real motivation. Like, there's
yes.
enthusiasm for the idea, and I want to read out at one of our members, a beautiful Melissa Groom, who has also been quite passionate about what we're trying to build. Is our mission is to unite humanity in safeguarding the future of our planet through compassionate action, innovative solutions, and collective stewardship, ensuring a sustainable and thriving world for generations to come. And when I read that, it just struck such a chord in me. She
Yeah.
she articulated that so beautifully,
Mm,
and, that is what we stand for. And there's also this, you can't push it. It's a bit like trying to get somebody to see what we see.
mm,
Can't make that. You can't force it. It needs to be a, a, a collective movement. So
yeah.
it's a movement, I think, that we're talking about. And it needs to be a willingness that people come along for the ride. And whether that's, people who are interested in what we're talking about and reach out to you and say, geez, I'd love to be a part of this. And we slowly bring people in. And I think when the time is right, the momentum will build and it will just take off. That's what I sense. No matter how quickly, patience has never been my strong suit. No matter how quickly I want it to happen, it's a bit like there were people who were saying to me 4 years ago, "Oh, this is gonna take a while." "No, it's not. It's gonna be done next month. It's gonna be over next month." And I'm like, "Damn you, you were right." We're
Yeah.
still, if you had told me 4 years ago we would still be here, I would be like, "Oh, no. Beam me up, Scotty. I can't do this for 4 years."
Yeah.
But here
No,
we
I
are.
get you. It's been painful waiting. I've
Oh,
been impatient all my life, and it was like knowing where we were heading, why we were coming into this whole thing, and where it was going to go, and then the big awakening, conscious shift. I was just like, hurry up, humanity, hurry up so we can get there. And I was so annoyed at times in my life that I was running stuff that I knew I didn't need to run. I don't need to do this. I just need to get there.
yeah.
But all of that took me to there. And once I, settled down, but yeah, man, I've been impatient. And so okay, so when you're bringing these people together, right? So we've got people coming together. And then somebody's got this idea here. Are you sort of, and somebody else has got this idea, and there's this one and this one. Are you bringing all of these people? Are you taking the ideas down? And then, like, you're the person that's going to bring this person into that one because that one there's similar and you could work together on this? Like, is there that sort of thing happening?
I don't want it to be so, like, pyramid structure, me like involved in everything. My idea is that we have an online community where people can connect. And I think I have actually found the solution.
Oh, awesome. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. So it's I don't know. I would need to run this by the community. I don't want to be, as much as I'm the initiator, I don't want to be anybody who's controlling it. You
No,
know,
I
I,
get
I
that.
would like to have, we need to have some sort of organizational structure behind it, and we need to have
Yep.
a group of people who are sort of working together to coordinate. We need a coordinating sort of thing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want people to come in who will self-govern,
Yes.
who will self organize
Well, that's that world,
and
isn't it?
build initiatives themselves. But if we can build them in one place, then people can come into this online space, and you can
Yes.
connect in your own communities in person as well. But they
Mm.
can come into an online space and go, oh, I've got this background and this really draws me, and I want to be a part of this initiative in this community, and it can be
Yes.
global. This can be
Yes.
global.
Yep.
So and we bring people in with experience and expertise, and I see so many professionals who have been ousted, and this pool
Yeah.
of wisdom,
Totally.
experience, and knowledge that is ripe to, yeah, they've been ostracized, they've been vilified, they've been victims of this terrible thing, and some have sacrificed and suffered a lot in the process.
Totally.
And I have a lot of respect for those who have had to go through that, and then realizing that that is their role. I haven't had to make those kind of sacrifices. I'm very fortunate, and spirit
Mm.
led me here, so I didn't have to. But by the same token, I feel a great deal of empathy for them, but recognizing and acknowledging that that is their role. We all have our roles to play. But
Mm.
imagine all that experience and that wisdom and that expertise being brought into a whole new way of being together. And just going back to your thing that it's not going to be this chaotic transition. You know what? Our financial system is actually not a bad system.
No.
The way it's been used against us, it's been weaponized. Our medical infrastructure, the way it's been weaponized is the problem. The system itself, the foundation of the system is not the problem.
Yes, exactly.
It's been weaponized in a way to that has created a whole lot of suffering, and that's all of our
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah.
And to lead us into this, compliant conformance, a state of conformity.
Mm.
But those systems could actually, once they collapse, we could actually rebuild using the same principles and the
Yes.
same structures, but from a completely different foundation of consciousness. And that's what I believe. Like, why throw everything out? Some things work
Yeah.
really, really well.
That's me too. I see that too, and I think, well, I wonder if many people get that because everyone's like, oh, we need to get rid of that, absolutely get rid of that, particularly the money system. And it's like, oh my goodness me, it's not actually that bad. And it's
No.
only those who are running it that have used it against us, like you say, and that's all it is. But I mean, not all it is, because that's quite huge. But it
Well,
seems
it's the
like
debt.
all it is now because
It's
we're getting through it.
it's the debt and enslavement system. Like, the
Yes,
financial system is the foundation of it at the moment, is the debt and enslavement thing. But it
yes,
wouldn't take much to actually change that into a fair and equitable system where it's not that all the money is transferred to a very small subset of people at the very top, and they just
mm,
manipulate the systems because they set up the systems.
yes.
We take our power back around that. And I'm actually really, really passionate about empowering and inspiring conscious entrepreneurs to build wealth.
Yeah.
Because the more people we have who are um, conscious, who are uh, spiritual, who are impact driven with all the money, imagine the world.
Yes, imagine it. I
We
have
don't
imagined
have to
it.
have complete equity of financial distribution. What we need is the people who have we need everybody looked after,
For sure.
but if there are those who want to work hard and build wealth, then that's great. But as long as the right people are building that wealth and they're contributing, that money
Mm,
that's coming through them is contributing to solutions and to humanity, and
yes.
and being a positive force
Yep.
for the betterment of humanity.
Yes.
Then I
For
don't
sure.
care if a billionaire has lots of money as long as they're doing something good with it.
Same. I'm the same. And it used to baffle me, and this is years ago even. Um, I remember when I was a little child. seeing when TV first even came out and ads started coming in, and, and it was feed the children, feed the starving kids in Africa and all these places. And those ads still run today.
It's
Where
insane.
is all the money that's been given to them over all my life, which is a long life so far, and it's like, where the hell? So that alone has been showing me for years that there's just such corruption, and
Oh,
don't ever give your
huge,
money to them because it's not getting to the people. And they're using
massive
that ploy
corruption.
to get more people to pay more money and blah blah blah.
Oh, it's
So
ridiculous. So
it's
yeah, I
shocking.
think, and I think that that's where the power lies. The power
Yes.
lies in actually utilizing what we already have, what we already know, but building it from a state of consciousness,
Mm,
elevated consciousness that is just way beyond what has been running the show so far.
mm,
And the more of us who step into that space, see, the thing is, if we're not captured within this system, then they got nothing.
exactly.
And that's where I think sovereignty, liberty, and freedom, if we are all focused on our own personal sovereignty, liberty, and freedom, and
Yeah.
then creating a collective sovereignty, liberty, and freedom, it's like
Yes.
we just give them the finger.
Yeah,
What?
absolutely. And many of the young ones, for this war that's just breaking out and starting all over again, is a lot of the young ones are going, no, we're not going, and choosing jail. They're just saying no. And we were talking, if all mums said no, my son's not going, and just absolutely everyone stood in this major no, there wouldn't even be a war.
That's the
And,
thing. It's that passive resistance. We don't
yes,
have to stand up. We don't have to fight. If collectively, right way back in the beginning, if collectively a certain percentage is just going to turned around and gone, yeah, no, we're not doing that. If the
mm,
nurses and the doctors had said, we don't think that's a good idea
yeah,
because we looked into it and we see what you're doing, no, we're not doing it. They would have had nothing. It would have literally sucked their power away. But
absolutely. Yep.
I agree with you. I think as hard as it's been, I think this is this is kind of like the pain that we had to go through.
Yeah, yeah,
It's squeezing us through the eye of the needle to make
absolutely.
us
Mm,
evolve, to make us wake up.
yeah,
And for those who are choosing the other timeline, that we have to let go. We just
eh,
have to let go.
totally, we do, and I'm getting okay with that, more and more. Um, like I was saying earlier, we've got family now, wider family that are sort of all becoming sick, and it's a part of the letting go, and it's just a matter of how involved do I want to be. Choices were made. I can still be empathetic and compassionate and all that, but I don't need to be emotionally grieving like I might have, if I hadn't processed some stuff and got to where I am in the sense of the overall knowing of what this is all about and how it's playing out. And yeah, it's a biggie. There's some big, big stuff in it for sure. So, anyone who is interested in coming in on board is to, just get in touch with you. You can put them on the thread and into the group, and
Into the messenger group, yeah, and
yeah,
connect in with us. And like I said, it's kind of like I've sort of popped in a few times and said, "How's everybody feeling? Are we really actually do anything yet?" And there's just not a lot of. It's kind of like the energy's still a bit, meh, not really.
do you think people see it as being too big?
Perhaps
Like,
because because I am very much a big picture person, and I
mm,
bite off things in very big chunks.
yeah, I get that
But
with me.
I think, from little things, big things grow, and we have to start somewhere. Like, it's like um, the most massive companies in the world
Mm,
started from just a seed. And I have this big vision, and I'm excited by the vision, but we just need to start planting the seeds, I think. So maybe that's been my fault, is that I didn't I didn't bring it down to, I'm not very good at the micro. I'm good at the macro. I'm good at the
Yeah.
ideas. I'm not great at
Yeah.
at the macro. And that's where I would like to people to collaborate, to come in and go, okay, well, if that's what you want to build, then whoa, but this is where we need to start. This is how we do
Yeah.
it. But this platform, just very quickly, this platform I was telling you about, I'm actually building, just, it's a completely different group altogether. But there's a guy called Alex Hormozy who, he's teamed up with Sam Ovens, and he's built this new social media platform that is like, I pay a certain fee to have a group on that platform, but it's about a specific topic and for a specific thing. And we could easily build a community on that platform that it's simple, but it's structured. People can have different groups that they can collaborate in. I think that would be an amazing platform to leverage, where we can all come together and start something, just start to collaborate. So, and I'm sure when everybody in the group is ready, it takes a few people to kind of get a bit of a fire in them.
Yeah.
I can't drive it, you
No,
know.
I get that. Yeah.
I can initiate it, but I'm not willing to. I've got enough on my plate. I don't want to be the person who is driving it. I'm not ready for any more hard work.
No.
It's got to evolve
See,
organically.
that's it. That's where I feel everyone that I know, I feel everyone is in that space. They're not into the hard work anymore. Don't want to work hard for anything anymore. And it is the evolving. And then we look at that and we say, okay, then that's going to take time, you know, because you know how we evolve. It's just working with what we've got right now in this moment, and then something else might pop in and we've got to work through that or whatever it is. And I think also a lot of people are exhausted and
Mm,
finding a new level of it's almost like they're okay, well, yes, this world isn't me anymore. So where from? And I get a lot of clients who are really in the limbo. They're not of the old world anymore, but they still can't see where they're heading here. And
mm,
so that limbo space is a very uncomfortable space. I get that. But it's also about becoming okay with right here, right now, and not trying to jump too far ahead
mm,
until we're right here, okay.
mm,
And once that happens, you start seeing the steps ahead of you somewhere. You know, oh, okay, there's a step there. I think I might take that. And the biggest thing in this is trust, and trusting that, okay, you might not know where you're heading, but just take that step.
mm.
And then if you take that step, the next step might show up, or it will show up because it does. So it's that sort of process for a lot of people right now. And finding their strength of knowing who they are again, because they thought they were all that and now they're not. And okay, so I'm now recreating myself. There's a new me that's stepping forward. And a lot of people have got these new purposes also that are showing up for them, for those who see that and have found that in this 4 years, that there's, hang on a minute, I thought I was doing this, but this is showing up and I'm off with this one. So there's a huge amount that's sort of moving and shaking up and still settling in a sense. And like I said about the nervous system, I feel people are really exhausted and they just want to settle in and not do the hard yards anymore and just have a bit of that for a while. So, yeah, I do feel the momentum growing though, and I'm seeing all these news starting, and people starting to just sort of rise above again, putting their head out, having a look, seeing what's around and what it might look like out there now. So yeah, I think it's early days, and I'm like you, I just want it all now. So
Yeah, it's like,
it is a matter
can
of
we just
just
get there already? Like, can we just
yeah.
do away with all the hard stuff and the pain and the suffering and all this other can we just get over that now, please?
Yeah,
Like, have we had
and
enough
get
of that
on to
yet?
the good stuff.
That's
Let's
right.
bring on
That's
the
right.
good stuff.
It's a bit
Yeah.
like in one of Neil Donald Walsh's books, Conversations with God, when that voice came in and said, have you had enough yet? It's a bit like that.
It
Like
is.
humanity. Have
Absolutely.
you had enough yet?
Yeah.
And at the
That's right.
moment, they're still saying, No. Okay.
I know. I
But there
know.
are those
Okay.
who are saying, "Yeah, we've had enough. We're ready
Yeah.
for something new."
Yeah.
And this is where, just finally, Mandy, I think this is where those people who are starting to put their head out and look around and look for something new, because there are millions of us who have come to a certain understanding, and
Mm.
we're consuming all this information, and we're still like, I'm still every day I'm kind of like, what, really? Seriously?
There's
No.
more.
Like,
There's
what?
more.
What?
Yeah.
And it is an ongoing thing. And I think more and more, as more and more truth is revealed, I think that's going to be an ongoing thing. But we need something else to focus on beyond that. We need to get beyond
Mm.
that now. Yes, it's
Mm.
happening. Yes, stay aware, stay informed. But let's look at how we move beyond that. And for those who are searching, I would love to have a place for them to land,
Yes.
to be able to go, oh, there's actually people here who align with me, who, this is my tribe. To
Yeah.
give people a place to land where they go, this is my tribe. This
Mm.
is home.
Mm.
This is where I can talk to people and create with people, and we can create the world that we want.
Yeah.
And you said that that place of limbo is really uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, what do you want?
Mm.
It's uncomfortable because you've most people have never been taught to ask themselves, what do I want? What do I
Yes.
really want? Not what everybody tells me I need to have, not what
Yeah.
everybody tells me I need to do, not what everybody tells me who I need to be. What do you want? Who are
Mm.
you? Who do
Mm.
you want to be in the world? What do you want to experience?
Mm. Yep.
And, and give them the power to go, whatever that is, you get to create that.
Mm.
What an amazing time to be alive.
I
Yeah, it's kind of
know.
shitty and crappy on one hand, but
No,
it's
it's
also
good.
exciting and
Mm.
amazing. The future of humanity, I believe, is so bright.
Yes, me too. I do. It's very exciting, and I've been excited for a while now, a few years, and people like, hey, but yeah, I'm more and more getting that now, that excitement and feeling it, and yeah, wanting to actually create into that excitement, which is really beautiful. So yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Well, it's honestly, your vision is a great vision, and it does take someone to just start something, put something in there, let's just put that there and see what little honeybees might be drawn to it, and what can be created from that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's why I'm there, because I loved your initiative into this bigger picture and what you wanted to see, what you wanted to create or try to create and co-create with others. And I did feel the sort of inaction of others in there too, um, and myself even just trying to get to one of the Zooms, that sort of thing. But I just keep going because it's coming together. I feel it is.
I think it
And it's
is. And I think, even sharing this interview into that little chat that we have and say, hey, if you want to listen to this, maybe
yeah.
that will trigger some inspiration. Because I think perhaps you're right. Maybe people can't really connect with my vision. Maybe I haven't articulated it well enough. Maybe people are like, oh, she's really off the planet, man. Now, I've been off the planet for a while, but it's like,
Yeah, me too. I just have to ground. But I think in respect to that, I think sometimes it's too big a picture for people. And it's
mm,
like, well, how the hell do we create that? Like
mm,
actually. So to have somebody who can put it into steps, I think is great. And you're that lady, I'm sure. You've got you've got the bigger picture. And like you say, if somebody could come in and help you just bring those finer steps in, that would be wonderful too. And
yeah.
you never know who might actually reach out from this. And that was my hope and my prayer for this, is that it does reach all the right people, which I'm sure it will in its own time and way. And yeah, that they have the, I don't know if courage is the word, but the energy maybe to actually put something into play.
Well, and I think the whole thing about this, Mandy, is that we will all lean on each other during this time. It's like
Yeah.
it's not on any one person. And
Mm,
my vision for this is as well, I mean, if you're entrepreneurial, that we create a space whereby you get to benefit. Everybody wins.
yeah.
So people who are entrepreneurial or people who are healthcare workers or they have a health background, they get to build their businesses as a part of being part of these community-based initiatives.
Yeah.
So, everybody wins. Whatever your specialty, your expertise,
Mm,
or even if some people are coming in and saying, "Oh, I don't really have anything to offer." Yeah, you do. You
yeah.
do. You're a
Yeah.
special human being, and we just want you to be a part of the community, and you'll find your place. We'll all find
Mm,
our place.
mm,
And I
yeah.
think that's the beauty of it, just allowing it to unfold. As long as we don't try to control it too much, it needs an organizational structure, no,
Absolutely.
not a controlled force. It's like
No.
let's allow it. This
Yes.
new energy of allowing and seeing what unfolds.
Exactly.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. And that's it. That's what, which I say to everyone I can say it to, is that everything has its own consciousness. And when you're putting something together like this, it's creating it into its own consciousness. And when we connect in, and I do this saying this to people with businesses and, who are trying to set something up, tune into the consciousness of that you're trying to create or that you have created into form and or started to, and allow it to show you where it wants to go, because we might be trying to drive it this way and it actually wants to go that way. And so it's just allowing it to unfold in the awareness of what it is, because it's a being, it becomes a being
Yeah,
of its own.
absolutely.
Mm.
Thank you so much
Oh,
for this opportunity. I've enjoyed it so much. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be with you. And yes, hopefully the right people will listen and feel inspired to maybe participate in some way, shape, or form. And it's not anything amazing at this point. All we have is a vision. But hopefully from that something amazing can grow.
absolutely, and it's forming. It is forming. So it's more than just a vision at this point. But thank you so much, excuse me, for coming in and and yeah, co-creating this space with me as well, because yeah, I just love it. And I love that there's a lot, people like yourself, beautiful, beautiful lights that are putting these things together for the collaboration of others. So thank you for everything you're doing, and for all the time and energy it takes up as well. So much, much love.
Much love
Thanks,
to you.
Margarita.
Thank you. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye bye.